Hello, Best Friend Books community. I wanted to come on this morning to let you know that our latest book called The Thought Collector is now available in both paperback and hardback on Amazon. And you can find the link for that. I will pin it to the top of our Best Friend Books Facebook page, so you can find that really easily. But I thought this morning that I might just do a really quick run through the book so you can see how it's laid out and what it is, what it looks like inside. Because I know sometimes when you go on Amazon, you see the cover, you read the description, but it might be kind of hard to conceptualize what the book is like. And if you're thinking in terms of shopping for the holidays or buying this for your classroom, it might help to kind of see what the poems are, how it's laid out, and how it could be used. Because this book is a different kind of book than our prior books. It is aimed at a little bit older student, a little bit higher level of discussion of those social emotional themes. And the coolest part about it is that it's not just a book, a picture book to be read. It's actually also a journal. And so with that, I'm going to share my screen and tell you exactly what that looks like. Show you exactly what that looks like. So this is the cover. I love it because it really does capture the theme of the book. So I will get into that a little bit more when we get to the poem, The Thought Collector. But I'm just going to take you through each spread of the book and give you an idea of the topic of that page or that poem. So the first one is called Just for Me, and it's really just about recognizing that the world around you exists for your enjoyment and appreciation, and that a lot of peace and contentment can come from just becoming aware of all the beauty that surrounds you every day. And so each of the poems is presented on the left-hand side of the page. And then on the right-hand side of each spread, there's a space for journaling. So the reader has an opportunity to reflect on the topic of the poem. And there's an optional prompt that's included on each page. So this one says, spend some time looking and listening to the world around you. Write down all that you notice with your ears, eyes, and other sensations. You can write in sentences, just list them, or even doodle some drawings of the things that you notice in that few minutes. So that's the journal prompt. And again, gives the reader an opportunity to interact with the topic. The second poem is Be Still. This is getting to that self-management aspect of social emotional learning. It's helping kids recognize the power of just taking a few moments to be still and breathe and focus on something that gives you peace and contentment. I love this image of the clothesline swaying in the breeze. The next poem, What Happened, is getting kids to recognize the connection between what happens extrinsically and what happens internally in your life. So how things that happen to you impact your emotions. And that's a really key social emotional skill. Being able to learn how to manage your emotions requires you being able to recognize how things that happen impact you emotionally. The next poem in the book, and again, each one of these has its own journaling space and prompt that goes with it. Just Next Door is about initiating friendship with people that you may not know and taking that first step to befriend others and make others belong. So it's getting to that social awareness and relationship awareness aspect of social emotional development. The Thought Collector is really central to the entire book. It's kind of, it's the title of the book as well. And it's about how we can choose our thoughts, just like we choose which stones to collect along the lakeshore. That we may not be able to choose what thoughts pop into our mind, but we definitely can choose which ones to hang on to and admire and keep in our collection and which ones to throw back, right? The Right Thing is giving kids a framework of questions to ask themselves when making difficult moral decisions or ethical decisions about what to say and what to do in any given situation. And so it's kind of like helping kids recognize an internal framework to go through. So it's getting to that responsible decision-making aspect of social emotional development. Follow the Leader, and I love our duck and her ducklings down here as the illustration. Pam's so great at finding a key concept in the poem and using that as the illustration inspiration. But Follow the Leader is about helping kids recognize kind of how to determine what is a good example to follow. And so it's getting to the issue of peer pressure and recognizing what makes someone a good example to follow or a good person to model your behavior after. And also really encourages people, encourages the reader to become that example themselves as well. The perfect kind of us is getting to social awareness standards where you're recognizing that there are lots of different kinds of units that make up families and that they all have value, and that your family constellation doesn't have to look a particular way to be the perfect family. It could be any kind of arrangement, as long as you're people that support each other, love each other, share traditions, share history, support one another. The imagination train is getting to that same idea as the thought collector, where it's getting helping the reader realize that your thoughts are kind of racing by like a train, and you get to decide at what point you're going to hop on board and where you're going to go with that thought. And so it's, again, giving kids a framework for thinking about which thought train they want to get on and which ones they want to say, it can go on past. I don't need to go down that hole right now, down that tunnel. The hardest words to say is getting to the idea that some of the most difficult things to express are things like, I need help, I love you, things that make you vulnerable, things where you're taking a chance on sharing your emotions with others. So again, it's getting to the discussion of being able to express your emotions in words. Right Where We Belong is really about relationship awareness and gives the reader an opportunity to reflect on who is the person or who are the people in your life that give you that sense of safety, security, acceptance that we all need. One More Time is about developing a growth mindset, which means that we're not all great at the same things. We're not all born with the same proclivities for different activities. We don't have the same talents, the same strengths, the same skills, but we all share the ability to grow whatever skills we have. And so even somebody who is a master pianist is still working at developing those skills, in just the same as someone who can't play the piano at all. The thing that they have in common is that we can all continue to grow those skills. You can hear my doggies pounding around behind me. Not Perfect, Just Fine is helping kids, again, develop resilience, because resilient people recognize that things don't have to be perfect to be okay. And so that starts that discussion. Next Day Better is, again, in the vein of developing resilience and persistence and growth mindset, recognizing that no matter what happened today, you can always start again tomorrow, and maybe things will be better. You can learn from your experiences, try things a different way. You can learn and grow. My favorite time of day is about just a nice reflection on what part of the day do you like best and why. And in the poem, it really gets to how each part of your day has things that you can find that are positive about it. But when it really gets down to it, it's really not the things that are happening during the day that are as important as who is present with you in that. More than that is recognizing that we are more than what we have. We're more than what we do. And we're more than what other people think of us. And so it doesn't really matter if you're rich or poor as much as it matters who you are inside. It doesn't matter whether you're an A+ student or you really struggle in school. It matters who you are inside. It doesn't matter whether you're the most popular kid in the class or whether no one wants to sit with you at lunch. What matters is who you are inside. And so getting kids to reflect on that and recognize that you are more than what others perceive you to be. More for You is about really asking kids to go to that next level of not just knowing what they want for themselves, but getting to the social awareness and the relationship awareness of wanting those things just as much for someone else as you want them for yourself. Maybe I can, maybe I will, is about really setting life goals and creating your own bucket list, things that you really want to do in life, and recognizing that you can make anything happen in your life. And being able to set those goals is a really important self-management skill, is getting to the point where you can kind of own your own dreams. Love never fails is pretty much self-explanatory. It's about how all days potentially involve some kinds of challenges, and that when we use love as our starting point for how we respond, it always turns out better. Just for me is, again, that opportunity to think about how the world presents itself for your enjoyment and gratitude, and taking the opportunity to notice all the beauty around you. It all depends is getting to a really high level social emotional skill, which is being able, it's called theory of mind, being able to put yourself in someone else's shoes and look at a particular issue, situation, challenge from more than one perspective, seeing not only how you see it and think about it, but being able to recognize how someone else might see it differently. Invitations is about helping kids with the concept of being able to disengage from negative relationships, negative interactions. It's about how every one of us every day has multiple opportunities where we're invited to interact with others, and that we get to decide whether we accept that invitation or not, and how we can decide not to accept invitations that really interfere with our peace and happiness in terms of our interpersonal interactions. I'll be me, you be you also gets to that same concept of everybody's allowed to be themselves, and we're all going to have slightly different perspectives on things, but that doesn't mean we have to be hateful and nasty to one another. Hearts and Parts is about using your head, your thoughts, and your heart, your feelings, to navigate all your choices for action. So getting to the point where you actually have intention and thoughtfulness about how you respond in a situation. Hard Things is, again, about developing persistence and resilience, that you can help students remember that a mantra of theirs should always be, I can do hard things, because sometimes the hard things that you're presented with in life are those opportunities for growth. Happy Habits is about helping kids recognize that their thoughts are habits every bit as much as brushing your teeth or drinking enough water or exercising, that we develop habits of thought as well, and that those are really important to develop the kinds of thoughts, the kind of habitual thinking that will bring you peace and contentment. Bounce and Roll is, again, getting to that idea of resilience and perseverance, because it really has the reader think about what challenges are presented in life, and whether you're going to look at those as barriers that you can't get over, or as whether they're just obstacles that you can bounce off of to give you momentum down the road, or that you can just roll on past. A Rainbow Kind of Me is thinking in terms of understanding that your challenges in life, adversities, can really pave the way to the rainbow beyond the storm. And that if you look at it that way, you can incorporate those challenges into becoming a better person. Standing By is getting to the idea of bullying, but from a different perspective. It's not only talking about the victim's experience, but it's challenging the reader to think about what they do as a bystander when they see bullying occur, and getting them to think about their own role in that situation. The thing about balloons is helping kids understand that negative things do happen. Good times don't always last forever. And that's a reality of life, but it doesn't prevent us from enjoying the present moment and being appreciative of what we have that's working well now, that's making us happy now, that's giving us enjoyment right now. Hide and Seek is about that concept of what you focus on tends to expand. So it's that idea about when you get a new car, suddenly you see that car everywhere. It's because you're thinking about it. It's not that there are all of a sudden way more of those cars on the road. It's that you're noticing them because it's important to you and you focused on it. So that by the same token, when your spouse or your child or your friend has an annoying habit, the more you focus on it, the more they seem to do it. Well, they're not doing it more. It just seems that way because that's what you're focusing on. By the same token, you could choose to not think about that and focus on one of their more positive habits, and you'll probably find yourself noticing that just as often. Safe and all right gives students a mantra to comfort them at times of challenge, at times of fear, at times of sadness or grief. And so I love this illustration of the light bulb in the dark room, because that's what it's really meant to do, is give the reader a mantra to remind themselves that even during difficult times, they're safe and they're all right. A patch of sky is really starting the conversation about wants versus needs, and being able to distinguish between those two. Happy place is a framework for helping kids develop positive visualization skills in order to find that internal happy place in any given moment as a matter of self-management of emotions. Just Breathe is also a self-management theme where we're helping students to practice deep breathing as a self-management tool. And that takes us to the end of the book. This is, again, a black and white book, and it is available in either hardcover or paperback, depending on the purpose you choose to purchase the book for. Whether it's a gift, you might want to do the hardback. I know I've mentioned before that as a kid, one of my regular gifts for my birthday and Christmas, starting at about 4th grade, was a journal. And it was a special book that I got to keep my thoughts in a private way. And I still have all those journals, and it's really a window into who I was at different ages. And it makes you realize how kids between the ages of kind of 4th grade to 8th grade really go through so much social emotional growth. And so that's kind of what was the inspiration for this book, which is we are calling a poetry journal. So I hope you enjoyed that overview, and that you'll find your way to Amazon to click add to cart for either a special gift for someone you love or for your classroom. And when people are asking me about age ranges for this, I kind of we aimed the poems and the illustrations and the whole idea of the book at kind of 4th to 6th grade as maybe the prime spot. But really, the poems could be probably understood by a bit younger kids at a different level, maybe 3rd grade. And the aspect of reflection and journaling could really be relevant to someone of any age. I know we have a number of people who even purchase our picture books to give to high school graduates to take to college with them, because they feel like the themes really resonate beyond just the picture book audience. And so I think the same is going to be true, and probably even more so for this book. I think this is going to be a great gift to give to anyone of any age. In fact, Pam and I are looking forward to getting our own hard copy that we can start journaling in. So with that, I'll say goodbye for today, and encourage you that if you have any questions at all, or if you would be interested in a virtual workshop for your class based on the Thought Collector, I'd be happy to do that. Please give us a yell. Bye-bye.